I just can't believe.
And you're back with Local Band on Demand. I'm Lisa, your host for the next hour, and we're here with the Atomic Drifters. I'm really excited to have this group in today. They're a local rockabilly band, and so we're going to open with that question for our audience. And we have Joe, Rusty, and Mike here, so I don't know which one of you wants to field this, but for our audience, just what is this thing called rockabilly?
Come on, Rusty.
Don't be shy.
Well, rockabilly is just, I think it's an infusion of rock and roll and hillbilly. And if it's the kind of music that soothes your soul like it does for us, then you just never stop thinking about it. And it's just the perfect fit of rock and roll with a touch of country in there. And you can get it going real fast, or you can get it where it's nice and slow and you just feel it through your bones. And I guess it has just kind of a unique style, gives you a flavor of the 50s, of the post-war period. There's so many great artists that you think about that inspire you to do it. There's so many things that go along with the music, the cars, the fashion, and just the kinds of things that were happening in that time. Maybe a time where, things were simple, things were easy, and rockabilly means a whole lot of things, and you can have a lot of fun with it.
So I have noticed that 1950s flair that goes along with rockabilly, but it seems to have a slightly harder edge to it. More tattoos on women that I don't think you might necessarily saw in the 50s. But I know that the night that I came and saw you guys, you had a pretty wicked group of dancers on the dance floor. Does that happen to y'all very often, where you fill up that dance floor?
Yeah, usually every show we play, there's people that come out and they got it going on. It's great, but we feed off of it, definitely.
Yeah, the great thing about rockabilly, it's also has that swing background. So there's a lot of swing beat that a lot of people can dance to as well.
That's definitely what we were dancing to, my husband and I. Took a little while to get a hole onto the dance floor because you had some really good dancers that started out, and I think intimidated a lot of folks. But once they moved aside, we got out there, and we sure did have a really good time. So I need to understand a little bit about you guys, because I talked to Rusty that evening, and he said within the group you had like 15, 20 years music experience, but you'd only been playing together as a band for about a year. So tell me what stars had to line up in order to get you guys together as a group.
Well, we've all known each other in other bands for quite a while. And I was going to start a project with Rusty. I was playing guitar, doing a little doo-wop, and he told me that, he probably needed a drummer. So I was like, you know what, I'll sit in and just see if it'll work out for me. And here I am. I'm still here. And I like what I'm doing. It's great.
So drums aren't your original instrument?
No, I play guitar and sing. Yeah, but it's great. It's great. I like playing drums a lot.
And if I may interject, the thing about Joe is we're very privileged to have Joe as a part of this band, because he's front at other bands. He was with Mad Dog and Smoking Jays for, 2 years? Yeah. This guy can play a wicked guitar. He's great on lead vocals. I've seen him play some bass. I mean, the list is endless. He's a versatile musician, and we're really fortunate to have him with the Atomic Drifters. When I spoke to Joe, I said, well, Joe, Mike and I are already working together on the guitar, and I'm really excited about what we're going to do, and I wish I had talked to you first, so that we could think about it. And he's like, well, I could probably do drums. And I'm like, what? You sure? You think? He's like, oh, dude, drums was when I was what? Was that your first?
Pretty much. I started out.
Yeah, as a kid. And I'm like, that too? You can do drums too? And he's like, yeah. So here he is. And, the guy just, we're really fortunate to have a guy like Joe with us, because he can do it all. And he's back there and he's adding so much to the drums. And now he's singing with us. And, we're really fortunate to have a guy like Joe. He's versatile.
Fortunate to have these guys as well.
Ever gracious.
Yeah.
So originally it was Rusty and Mike that were talking about putting together the rockabilly group, and then were lucky enough to bring Joe on board.
Stumbled into it. You know, exactly.
One too many shots of whiskey. Next thing you know, you're on the stage.
Sounds like so much I'd like to do.
How'd I get behind the drum kit?
And who put these sticks in my hand? I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of
Apparently
people
pull it
who
off.
come to see you are shocked to see you behind the drum set because
Yeah,
they used
I
to
didn't know
sing
you
you with
could play the
Mad
drums.
Dog and the Smoking Jays as singer.
Yeah, that's the first thing they say. I don't know you could play the drums. And I'm like, I didn't know I could play either. You know?
See, that's like the 15th question down I had for you, which was, when did you start playing the drums? And
I would say probably 4 or 5 years old. And then I think I beat the holes in my drum set the first day I got them. And, you know, little Toys by Roy drum set or something. But parents said, up, you just ruined them. We're not going to get you any more drums. So I think I just floated and listened to music for a long time and then started playing guitar at 9. And it was a little challenging and it was a little hard. So I didn't really start really putting the gas pedal on until I was about 13. And guitar just, it became everything to me, you know. So, but the drums were always like on the back burner. It's like, I'll just play to keep amused, I guess. But guitar's definitely the love of it all.
So I just want to make a note. Bands out there, don't get any ideas. He's not going to be your guitar player. He's staying with us.
Strictly solo.
And how about you, Mike? How long have you been playing the guitar?
Oh, I think it's been about 17 or 18 years. Started when I was a
But you look
teenager.
like you're 18 now.
I'm 30, I'm 31.
He's a very young-looking 31. That's a compliment.
Thank you.
Boyish good looks all the way around. So you, I'm sorry, because I got distracted with your age. You said you've been playing for about 18 years?
18 years, yeah.
So you're 31, doing the quick math, in your late 10s.
I think so. Or, well, maybe I didn't do the math right. Maybe it was 15. I was about 13 or 14 years old. So, I guess I'm not good at math. That's at 16.
And
years.
were you always, as a guitarist, were you always attracted to the 50s sound? Or did you
I listened
start
to
with Zeppelin?
Yeah, even in high school, I listened to the oldie stations. And I was also into blues and swing. And actually, I was into blues and swing before Rockabilly. That's how I kind of got into the sound, was because it kind of merges the two, you know, along with the country influence as well. But that's basically I got the 50s, because those 50s guys are basically, you know, combining all the sounds together.
So what do you think it was that attracted you to music of the 50s when you were in your teens? I mean,
I don't know. It's I wasn't too big into what's on the radio, you know. Some bands are okay, but it just never, I don't know, the music never spoke to me. It was just more fun music, I found, back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. The modern music, just to me, is just so serious. It's just not fun to listen to.
When I was a teenager, that's what I listened to too. So like grew up during the 80s, and there was you know, a lot of great stuff going on in the 80s, but I found myself listening to the 50s stuff because I could hear the lyrics.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed being able to able to sing along with them. So that's going to bring us back to Rusty and his straw hat. And I got to say, when did you realize you had a set of pipes?
I guess as early as I can remember. 5, 6 years old, probably. You know, your mom and dad coax you into doing things, you know, around the holidays, and they put you in a little tie and a little jacket, and you're standing there, and they're like, "Come on, sing Lollipop," or, you know, whatever it was. And then, I don't know, I used to imitate Howard Cosell and all these silly things, and everybody would just, you know, they encourage you, and even if you're really ridiculous, they all give you a hand and make you feel great. And I guess that's how it starts. And like you and Mike, I was drawn to the 50s sound even as just a kid, just a little kid. And I was drawn, my first word was car, and instead of mom and dad, the first word was car, and my first car was a 57 Chevy, and underneath the seat was a Ricky Nelson cassette. And even before that, my mom had me listening to Gary Lewis and the Playboys, and you know, I can remember as a kid singing This Diamond Ring, And, you know, it's just certain people, you're just drawn to it, just like you guys. It's just in your blood. And sometimes I think, this is weird. I'm a weirdo. Why am I so weird and different? And I'm sure you guys might have thought that too. And then, you think, I'm probably the only one really listening to this. And then you meet somebody else and they like it too. And you're like, whoa, I'm not the only one. I don't have to listen to everything that's pop and that's current and that's popular. There's other people that like this, you know, so yeah, it happened early on, and I don't know why, but that's just how it was.
Same story for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Always loved the.
My dad was a guitar player, and I think the first couple songs that I learned to play were Ghost Riders in the Sky and a few surf tunes like Wipeout and stuff like that. So yeah, we all have kind of that inner tie of our backgrounds, you know. But I know what it's like to be a nerd as well. I was probably only kid in my class with a Kiss t-shirt. So the rest of the kids are just like, wow, you know, staring at me and didn't know really what it was. For the main fact, I knew that their parents wouldn't let them, you know, check that out. So I don't know. I was pretty much a free spirit.
All right.
Parents are really disciplinaries, but they were they were definitely the art encouragers, you know, so yeah.
Oh, awesome. All right, well, we're going to take a really quick break. We're here with the Atomic Drifters on Mile High Radio for the local Band on Demand show.
Well, I've been traveling over mountains, well, even through the valleys too. Well, I've been traveling night and day. I've been running all the way, baby, trying to get you. Well, ever since I read your letter, where you say you love me true. Well, I've been traveling night and day. I've been running all the way, baby, trying to get you. Well, I read your loving letter. Well, then my heart began to sing. Well, there were many miles between us, but it didn't mean a thing. Hey, I just had to reach you, baby, in spite of all that I've been through. Well, I kept traveling night and day. I kept running all the way, baby, trying to get to you. That's right. Well, if I had to do it all over, well, that's exactly what I'd do. Well, I would travel night and day. I would still run all the way, baby, trying to get to you. Well, there's nothing that can hold me. Well, or can keep me away from you. Well, your loving letter told me that you really love me true. Oh, Lord above me knows I love you, for it was He who brought me through. When my way was dark as night, He would shine as bright as light when I was trying to get to you. Oh, when my way was dark as night, He would shine as bright as light when I was trying to get to you.
And we're back with the Atomic Drifters here on the local Band on Demand show. You were just listening to a little cut of their music, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. So we were just talking about how yesterday they did 2 shows, played until 4 a.m. in the morning, and just barely crawled themselves out here. So why don't you guys tell me a little bit about your shows yesterday? Where were you playing?
Well, we started off at a car show around noon over in North Glen at a place called the Glen Bar and Grill. Pretty good crowd. Very, very enthusiastic. It was fun. And after that, we went down to Bender's Tavern in downtown Denver, and we opened for Three Bad Jacks.
Awesome. And then, so what time did you pull out of the venue last night? Be honest.
Could have been like 2 a.m. Get to bed at 4. Wake up and go, oh.
You see, I really feel grateful that y'all came in today.
Well, thanks for giving us the wake-up call this morning. Sometimes we need a little babysitting.
Excellent. So what is your favorite aspect of playing live together as a band? Anyone?
Well, for me, it's the energy that I guess every band would say that the energy you create from the stage. You know that what you're creating there, and watching the reaction on the crowd and the people that are listening to you, and sometimes the people that are not, and watching what they're doing. It's kind of a people watching thing. They're watching you, you're watching them. And someone told me once that when you send that energy out to them and they send it back to you, you're feeding off each other. And, it's kind of obvious, but yeah, it really is that way. You create this vibe and this energy, and you express yourself. And obviously it's like a drug. It's like a, definitely like an addictive thing when you create that. And then, we're fortunate. We play the kind of music that's danceable, and, there's a lot of really, really talented, really fun, wonderful people that come to our shows, and they just fill up the dance floor. And it is a complete and total joy to watch them out there doing, Lindy Hop, swing and jive, and they're pouring their heart and soul into it. And we're up there doing what we can, and what we want to do, and we're sweating, and we're yelling and hollering and drinking a little whiskey here and there, and we look out there and they're doing a flip and a jump, and then sometimes I'm watching Mike wail on the guitar, and all of a sudden I hear the crowd yell, and I think, well, what did he do? And I look out, and it's someone just did a flip, someone just went, right over the top of someone's head and did some upside down crazy dance move, and that is absolutely fantastic. And we're fortunate that we're in this kind of music and that we can have those kinds of crowds.
What about you, Joe? Is that why you enjoy playing live?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a lot of different reactions. I like to see new people out there, because you can just tell that they're like, whoa, never seen this before, or whatever. I mean, it just depends on their reaction, but seeing new faces is just great, and it's great to see the locals too, as well. And definitely give our fans a lot of props for coming to the shows. We wouldn't really be a whole lot without them. So, yeah, special thanks to them for sure. For sure.
And Mike, what do you like about playing live with these two cats over here?
Well, it's fun playing the music on stage, but it's also the audience reaction that I enjoy the most. The best gigs are the ones where the audience is the most active and dancing and showing enthusiasm. I've always found the hardest gigs are the ones where people are just kind of sitting down, being quiet in their little corners, and the energy's just dead there. It makes it a bit harder to play. We try and still put on the same good show, but getting that good enthusiastic reaction, dancing, cheering, all that, that's what I enjoy most.
So, like, the reason why you didn't get to bed till 4 yesterday was because you had that, like, high afterwards, that performance.
Yeah, I mean, it's
high.
hard for me to sleep for hours after a show. Yeah. Just, I don't know, kind of like a workout. You're really pumped up, and then, you just, I don't know. It's really just amped, it's hard to get to sleep. It really is. But just got to quell the mind and go to sleep.
I was going to say, that in addition to the crowds out there, that you're privileged to see and to play for, you get to know the people that you're working with day in and day out. And it's like, these two guys, and the guys that we play, that come and play bass with us as well. It's like, you're working with them for an extended period of time, months and months and years, and it really is like a marriage to to 3 other dudes, really, without the sex. And
Oh, I'm sorry. That's the best part.
yeah, it's this marriage, and you have this relationship, and it's really awesome to just see each other, just kind of grow musically. And I enjoy watching these 2 guys, and every time they do something new and they do something bigger and something better, and it's a wonderful feeling. So in addition to the crowds out there, that you get and the people and the comments, and yesterday we took some great pictures with this guy's black 64 Cadillac. He put flames all over it, and he says Psychobilly Cadillac right above the back window, and he showed up to this car show, and we're rocking in there, and we do this song called One Piece at a Time about, by Johnny Cash, about building a hot rod over several years where he sneaks out little parts out of a GM factory. And, we do this song, and there's a time and a place for a lot of songs, and car shows are the perfect, place for that type of song. We do that song, these guys went crazy, and they go, Psychobilly Cadillac, and they're yelling, and I'm like, wow, those guys are really enthusiastic, man. They're having a great time. And I'm looking to see how many drinks they have on that table and everything. He's like, no, you don't understand. And then, we take a break from playing, and he goes, you got to see my car. And sure enough, he's got the Psychobilly Cadillac sitting right out there. So we took about 10 pictures with it, and it's the best.
What do you think, Joe? Are you in a marriage with these guys?
A marriage? No, I don't think it's gotten really that serious. No, I haven't had any problems with these guys. They're great. They got their heads screwed on tight. They play good music. They got good ideas. They bring really good, things to the table. So it's like tools. I'm like, wow, cool. I get to work with this and do this. And yeah, it's really cool. It's a little challenging playing with a different bass player usually every show. I think it's getting a little, but we're trying to just zero in on our craft and let the bass player, do what they do,
So why do you have to rotate your bass players?
There hasn't been anybody consistent as far as just staying with the shows right now. Hopefully that'll change. We've got a lot of good things happening for us right now. So, but I guess it gives us a little different flavor every time you see us. Maybe there's people that are like, wow, they got a different bass player every time we go see them, and wow, it's the same, but it's a little different. I don't know if that's eye candy or exactly what it is, but yeah, it was really, really good. But yeah, it would be great to find the right fitting counterpart.
And most of these bass players are also in different bands as well, so it's basically who's ever available for that gig we can get. And one of them even lives in Los Angeles, and we fly him out here.
It's a lend and lease program. What do you guys think are the most important qualities for a member to bring to a band? Like like you said, that to have their head on tight and
Clarity.
What do you mean by clarity?
Well, just knowing their craft and be able to execute it really well with us, on stage or, rehearsal. Just really knowing our material is a very important thing. I think some people get up there and they don't really know, but they're just going through the motions, and that's cool too. It's definitely an art to play the stand-up rockabilly bass, from what I've seen. So, and there's, quite a few different styles. There's people that are more punchy, and then some people are a little more jazz orientated or what it is, so whatever somebody's bringing to it changes it up just a little bit, here and there, but we try to keep our thing going, the way we know best to do, so just trying to keep it together, trying to keep it tight, and the whole dance factor, getting the people's reaction to get up and start dancing, love to see that, I
would like to add one of the things I think that I personally look for in bandmates. You have a lot of experiences as you over the years with different musicians and different people that you decide to spend time with. Personally, for me, it's the drama, man. I really don't want any drama, and we don't have any. We're very fortunate. You have that marriage, you have that relationship, and you have ups and downs, and you're going to have conflict, and you're going to have issues you have to solve. And can you communicate those issues? Can you talk about those and solve them and move on to the next one? Well, we can. And it is such a delight to work with these guys because yeah, he talks about heads being screwed on straight. I've been in situations where there's a lot of drama, and it affects your music. It affects your ability to do what you want to do. And, you know, you hear it day in and day out with bands. You know, it's just something that's part of the business is the drama, the band drama. There's so much of it. We just don't have any of that. We're very fortunate about that right now.
And let's face it, many musicians are emotional people. So
Moody.
No way.
Ambulance.
So is that the same for you, Mike? Is that what you value in a bandmate, or what are you looking for in a solid crew?
yeah, I mean, yeah, the two main things are, one, you have to be a good musician, you know how to play well.
Sorry, you're not going to make it.
Yeah, and to be drama free, because you know there are a lot out there which it just makes it a lot difficult to go to practice, write stuff, be creative if there's just emotional tensions and fighting or whatever. Yeah.
What do you think causes the drama for most bands?
Egos, differences of opinions. You know, if everybody's not on the same page as where they want the band to go, you know, that's a common one as well.
So
you got to throw an ego out the door. It's usually the best bet. Yeah.
Is that the advice you would give to
Yes.
a new band starting?
Yeah, everybody has to be able to work together. You know, they put in what they can, but you gotta compromise a lot.
What's the most valuable thing that you could tell? Oh, my producer's saying that it's time to take a 2-minute break. I was so intrigued with our conversation that I missed it completely. So we're going to cut now to listen to a couple of Atomic Drifter songs. We're going to listen to Big Blonde Baby and then Cool Cats Cry, and we'll hear you after the break. Talk to you more after the break. This is Lisa with Local Band on Demand.
My high radio.
Well, wheeling on the corner like an old tall king, shelling and shaking almost off my back. Who walks by me? Oh my! Benji Joseph, a big blonde baby. Yesterday she kissed me, she was so divine. Well, I down begging to get mine, oh mine. Held tight, good night. Benji Joseph, a big blonde baby. Big blonde baby. Woo, glory be. Oh, big blonde baby. Well, now I know there's got to be. Shiver and a quiver when she kisses me. Squeeze it till I'm hollow and oh gosh so deep. Loves a man like I know one can. Benji Joseph, a big blonde baby. Benji Joseph, a big blonde baby. Rock it. Yeah, a big blonde baby. Woo, here I go. A big blonde baby. Well, now I know that I love it so. The lady gives me, she was so fine. Well, I down back to mine, oh mine.
And we're back with Local Band on Demand show. You were just listening to the Atomic Drifters, who we're fortunate enough to have in the studio. And before we went to break, we were talking about band drama and or how to avoid it. But Rusty said that it's something that's real important to him, and he's really glad that we're talking about it. So I want to hear what he has to say.
Well, I think it's always something that every band thinks about, and it's always sometimes you're thinking about it, but no one wants to say it or talk about it, but it's just a part of I definitely have learned that it's just a part of the business. It's a part of the whole creative machine. And, I see it all the time, everywhere. And, some of it, I've seen some of it get really ugly. And I'm sure the people that are listening to this program right now, they can relate, man. You always can think of some example of nasty, wicked band drama that you see and just tear friendships apart, tear bands apart. And it's just, I guess it's just like when you work together, in an office or something, in a shop or in an office, your colleagues. But it's a relationship you have day in, day out, daytime, nighttime, weekdays, weekends, all the time. You eat together, you drink together, you socialize together, you work together, and it's a marriage, and there's no doubt about it. And the drama is an unfortunate part of it, and sometimes people don't necessarily want to talk about it, but it's a part of it. And I'm really grateful because we are in a situation here where a year into our project, we just don't have any conflict at all. We're able to talk about every single thing, and it makes me feel like the possibilities for us, our project as a band, the Atomic Drifters, is it just could go on for a very long time. And matter of fact, we just got contacted by Viva Las Vegas. We are going to be at Viva Las Vegas 15, and they gave us a showroom date. We're very excited about it, and I think the possibilities are endless. When you can control your band drama, when you can control your egos and really just realize that you've got to stay focused on the project and the long-term goal. And I'm really privileged to be working with these guys because I think we have that. I think we have that. So far, so good.
Did you guys, when you guys started this project, did you talk about this initially? Did you say, let's talk about drama, how we're going to avoid it? Did you just kind of set up a plan in advance? Was it a part of your, overall mission?
No. Not at all.
Good answer.
Summarize it right there.
Hey, listen, we got to talk about this drama. We will not tolerate this or that.
No, it's great. It's almost like work. I mean, we go to practice. There might be something that's bothering somebody, but no one ever really shows it. We just kind of set up, do our thing, and there ain't no gripe. So it's really easy to do your job when there is no gripe factor.
We practice with a guy by the name of Mopar Mac, and he opens up his living room to us, and he has 16 cats, and he is so happy to have us there, and he's just a great friend to us. And we open up the door, and he sits down, and he might have 2 or 3 friends there. He just decided to have over, and he cracks open a beer and gets a pizza, and we got a built-in crowd right there. And if there's any one of us that maybe had a bad day at work, or maybe sat in a traffic jam on the way down there or whatever, and we're just kind of in a bad mood, you look at those people that are sitting there ready to just listen to you rehearse with all your silly mistakes you're about ready to make, and all your the songs that you're developing that are just totally raw right now, and you're like, why would they want to sit through that? And man, they're ready to go, and so hey, then you're ready to go, and you just smile, you look around and say, hey, here we are, we're going to make some music, and we're going to watch 16 cats walk around the house and rock out with us.
Mike, there's got to be dirt. I mean, come on. You guys can't be this perfect.
There's always dirt.
There's some conflict here. What's the conflict that's not being expressed by
I really
Rusty
can't
and
say
Joe?
there is any within this group. Yeah, because I think we've all come from previous bands that have drama, so we were all kind of recovering from those. And so
It's
I
a
think we're all
drama
in the kind of
recovery
the same.
group.
We're all in
It
the
is.
same state
It is.
of minds.
So it's probably just therapy, I guess. I guess we've come this far. Now it's therapy.
Ask us again after we go on like a tour bus ride or something. Maybe then there'll be some dirt, but
You come back
nothing
from
yet.
Vegas. But you said something about ego. You guys just check your egos at the door. Do you think you receive feedback from one another really well? Because I know that can be also a source of a lot of struggle for folks when they get feedback. They take that as criticism and feel attacked. So how do you guys communicate with each other to kind of avoid that sense?
Sometimes, depending on what you're referring to, if we're practicing, there's usually an opinion like, hey, can we do something like this? We usually work it just by communication. And when you stop talking to each other is usually when the problems, are there. I mean, if you don't say what's on your chest and keep it in there, it's just no good. But bands do it all the time, and they let it go on for months and months, and then it snowballs into a, combustible type thing.
Festering
Yeah.
pocket of pus.
And it's always you do think about, well, I want to make this suggestion, but I don't want to really, I don't want to offend anyone. But I don't know. We're over that. A lot of times I'll get a suggestion like, hey, the way you're doing that sucks. Do it this way. And I'm like, okay, I'll just do it. You know what? I'm not going to worry about it. If these guys are the people I want to listen to right here, sitting with us at this table. So, yeah, I don't get worked up about it at all. I think that's what you're asking about is how do you make suggestions to each other because you can't keep it inside. You're like, oh, this isn't really a good song. I don't really want to do this song, but I don't want to tell them because they might get mad. No, we just say it. Hey, you know what? I'm sorry. This song sucks. And I'm like, well, okay. Do you think it sucks? Yeah, and I think you suck. I'm like, all right, well, I'll just, we just, you just.
Why do you look at you, Mike? Do you go around telling them they suck?
Just really good communication, really, and never holding back. I don't think any of us really hold back, and that's what's great. And yeah, no egos about it.
So then you're all very secure, is what I'm hearing. I want to talk about the music that you play. I know that you have some original music that you haven't yet recorded, but is it also pulling on that 50s sensibility? A
lot of it is, but some of it's branching out to a lot of different genres, whether it be surf or country. It's definitely in the rockabilly camp, but it's really us. And when we finally get it out, it's going to be a lot of fun to play it. The originals is definitely what you work towards. Mm-hmm. I know we were going to get to this point eventually. It's good.
Where I started questioning you about your original music and why it wasn't available for us to listen to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bill's not quite done.
Drama.
Yeah.
Actually, when I went and saw you guys play, one of the things that struck me and I really appreciated was that. You were doing covers. It's awesome. I think you had some originals that night. I'm not positive. But what I really noticed was that the covers that you were doing were not the most popular songs of that era. Like you were pulling kind of, more interesting, a little bit more obscure songs. So what brings you to your musical choices? Like when you guys are selecting music, what guides you?
A lot of this has to do with Rusty and Mike. They usually will tell me this is what we're going to try to do, and I'm like, wow, okay, But, yeah. No, it's very challenging,
So it has to do with, you choose challenging music?
No, I wouldn't say. More music that we just like to listen to. What we enjoy hearing is what we want to play because we think other people will enjoy hearing it as well. And a lot of them are more obscure songs. I mean, both of us, we know quite a bit of 50s music beyond what they play on the oldie station.
Yeah.
And even a lot of songs are also done by popular artists, but they're the songs that, they're like the B-side recordings of them or the ones nobody really knows, like Buddy Holly's Ollie V, or The Swag, a Link Ray song. Everybody knows The Rumble. I always hear The Rumble being played all the time. But I always like the B-side to that record, which is called Swag. So that's what we do. And everybody seems to love it. We get good responses by those.
Well, yeah, it's nice to hear old music that, that we didn't know about so much, getting turned on to new music from another era. That's what I appreciated anyway.
Yeah, I always feel like too many people, a lot of the radios are playing the same songs over and over again, and people's vocabulary or whatever of 50s music is very limited to what was recorded. I mean, there is a lot of music recorded from the 50s. I mean, everyone was, every garage band was recording a record back then, and there's just lots and lots of music. I'm always searching for these, like in MP3s, of old music, and it's just incredible how much is out there. And a lot of it great music, a lot of mediocre, a lot of cheesy music along with it. But there's a lot of good stuff out there that nobody's ever heard of since, 1956 or whatever.
I noticed that in your crowd you had people that might have listened to music originally in 1956. Did you catch those cats in your audience that night?
Yeah. You know, one of the things we're really happy about is not being a one-dimensional band. We do a lot of shows that are real kid-friendly. We have a really good time with the family shows, and then we have a really, really great time with shows like we did last night at a Bender's with the Three Bad Jack CD release party. And you know, it's a pretty wild, crazy crowd. We had an absolutely great time, and you know, we don't have to be one-dimensional, and we can change the sound according to where we're at and have a real good time with it. And there's a lot of young people and a lot of older people. And that's the joy of this type of music as well, we think, is that, you know, it can attract all ages. And it's a wonderful feeling to know that it's some young kid that maybe would have been just engrossed in current pop music, and maybe he gets turned on to some Buddy Holly or some Chuck Berry, some Roy Orbison, and he's like, wow. Or just a sound that we had developed through original song, and then all of a sudden, maybe this younger kid is turned on to some roots American music, and that's really cool. But yeah, we get you know, you look out there, and our type of music is definitely all ages, all shapes and sizes, all colors, and that is the beauty of 50s style rockabilly, no doubt about it.
All right, we're going to take a really quick break. We're going to cut away and listen to some more Atomic Drifters. We'll be back in 2 minutes. I'm Lisa with Local Band on Demand.
Well, it started a long time ago. I can't see the kittens rocking on the floor. I seen up late at the drive-in show, rocking with the cats on the radio. Well, I'm a rockabilly rebel, baby. Well, I'm a rockabilly rebel. Rockabilly rebel, I'm a rockin' tonight. Can't hurt no until the cool cats cry. Are jumping all over the floor. I can't stand kids screaming more. Well, everybody's bobbing to a new dance craze. But do the more bobbing, won't you shake a leg, baby? Well, I'm a rockabilly rebel, baby. Well, I'm a rockabilly rebel. Rockabilly rebel, I'm a rockin' tonight. You ain't heard no till the cool cats cry. Since I was 3, my dad set me down on his knees. He said, son, don't you act real wild. You was born a cool cat child, baby. I'm a rockabilly rebel, baby. Well, I'm a rockabilly rebel. Rockabilly rebel, I'm a rockin' tonight. You ain't heard nothing, and now let's rock! Rock and roll! Hair and my blue suede shoes. Wearing slim peggers and coming on smooth. Runners in my pocket and cash in my hand. I'm gonna see you rockabilly baby. Well, I'm a rockabilly rebel, baby. Well, I'm a rockabilly rebel. Rockabilly rebel, I'm a rockin' tonight. You ain't heard another till the cool cats cry.
And we're back with the Atomic Drifters here in the studio at Mile High Radio. I'm Lisa Leavitt with Local Band on Demand. And I just wanted to say, you know, not only does this band play in the style of the 50s, with, of course, other influences, but apparently they've just revealed to me that they record in the style of the 1950s. So Joe, won't you talk to us a little bit about what you mean by that?
Very simple. Maybe a room mic or two. In a place like Max, it's his living room. That's where we recorded our CD. It's got really good acoustics to where, you know, what we did.
With the cats?
So, yeah. They might have something to do with it. But yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about. And it's usually getting it, you know, in a 1 or 2 take thing. And sometimes you get something real special, you know. Usually when you do it that way, there might be a little mistake here and there, but it doesn't really matter sometimes. Sometimes that's what makes it, you know. I don't think music is necessarily supposed to be perfect, and right now they want it to be perfect. They want everything just to, you know, this is not the way it is. especially when you see bands live. There's always little quirks that happen, and it's kind of funny and stuff. But
when over
important.
producing an album or over mixing an album, it's easy to lose that band energy. I've heard it a lot where it's just too overproduced and the music just sounds thin and fake. Because when you see a band live, you just get that energy. So if you record the same way, you can try and capture that same energy as somebody watching live bands.
Yeah, I think it's very important to capture that. It just things get sterile when you're in the studio. Sometimes, you're sitting there and you're like, oh well, I'm trying guitar takes and trying to get one perfect one. Sometimes it takes a little while for that, and it depends on what producer you're working with or how you're doing it. But I believe that music is just about style, character. I just don't really believe it's meant to be so polished and perfect, but that's the industry. It's the way they want you to be, but sometimes it just loses that live flair,
And also as a musician, when you listen to a lot of those old recordings from the 50s, you do actually start picking up on little errors that were made in the recordings as well. I find them all the time where it's like, oh, this guy messed up right there, because it was a one-take recording or recorded live. And once you start listening to them a lot, you start catching all these little errors. And they left them in there, and it'd be like a hit song. And, nobody really noticed or cared that, this person hit a wrong note or missed hitting this, break or.
A lot of great artists would leave mistakes in their paintings to make it that much harder for someone else to duplicate. Oh, I educated the band on something. They didn't know that. So what you're telling me is that I would never find you using auto-tune.
Nope. No lip syncing, nothing like that. No.
That would cause drama.
Yeah. No metronomes, nothing like that. No click track.
So you guys are working on your originals. You are coming up with a new CD. When can we expect that?
I would say probably by fall we'll have something out, and hopefully it'll be a little surprising to some people.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun actually getting it out. We're trying to figure out what we're gonna do as far as studio, and we're getting the songs worked up.
Like living room versus studio.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's like, do we move on or do we
actually have more than
keep
one take? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we'll give it 3 at the most.
Will the cats get mics?
Yeah, maybe we'll just set up more mics around the place and see what we can capture.
So, really quick before I let you escape the studio this afternoon, tell me your top musical influences. I mean, like if I just stumbled in, didn't know anything about the 1950s or 40s or 30s, who do I need to hear?
Well, the influences don't stop at 1962. Go Cat Go in the 90s. Obviously, we cover their music. We absolutely love their music. They were, to me, a legend, absolute legend, and better than some of the huge names. Elvis Presley, Jerry Lewis. Go Cat Go was phenomenal. Today bands like the Go-Getters out of Sweden, Jack Baymore and the Bandits. There's so many of them, and that's why if you do like this kind of genre, Viva Las Vegas is a good thing to check out, because there's bands from all over the world putting out current sound, and it's tremendous. It's tremendous. And sometimes we get someone to come up and say, oh, I remember that song from when I was a kid in the 50s. They don't really remember that song because it's a new song, but it sounds so familiar they feel like they've heard it, for years. And so the influences go on and on and on.
Wow, that's a lot of artists that come to mind.
I like how Joe took himself out of the conversation.
Yeah, Joe pointed
and
to me.
is just
He was
pointing
next in
to
line.
Mike.
Yeah, mine's going to take forever, that's why.
Oh, okay.
But a lot of the 50s rock and roll, Buddy Holly, Bill Haley and the Comets, Elvis Presley, the 50s Elvis Presley mostly. And even going back to like the blues and swing artists, Benny Goodman, Glenn Miller, the rhythm and blues ends, like Big Mama Thornton, Big Joe Turner, music like that, and music that really, helped lead to the 50s rock and roll sounds.
All right.
Yeah. My palette's pretty large when it comes to rock and roll. It goes on forever, but Mike definitely nailed it. Buddy Holly, probably my favorite artist of the time. Reason being, three-piece. I'm a big fan of three pieces. Such original material that came out from Buddy. I mean, just amazing. Of course, a lot of different artists. Of course, Elvis. I'm really into the blues. Son House. Who else? John Lee Hooker, from that era. And, of course, just regular rock and roll. I mean, I grew up being a 70s kid, so, I mean, of course, there was tons of 70s. But even that music reflected rockabilly, as well. But played a lot of bluegrass with my dad growing up, too, so the palette is really there for lots of different genres, So I could go on, but that's just kind of summing it up in short.
All right, great. So before we go for the afternoon, gotta hand it over to you, let you have a little bit of shameless self promotion. Where can we find you next?
Should have brought our schedule. Southside Johnny's.
Oh, yeah, I don't know when our next show is, but
Southside Johnny's next Thursday.
yes, Southside Johnny's in Colorado Springs on Thursday, about 9:00. I believe we start
9 to close.
of next week. And our calendar schedule can be found on our website at www.atomicdrifters.com. We're also on Facebook and Twitter as well.
Our entire schedule is listed out real simply on Facebook under the Atomic Drifters, and it's just it's chronological and it's just laid right out there. We have a big car show coming up at Rockabilly's in Arvada in August. We have the distinct pleasure of opening for the Starlight Drifters at the Hot Rod Hoedown at Southside Johnny's in Colorado Springs in early August. And we've got a lot of tremendous shows coming up between now and then that we're really grateful to have. And we've been keeping really busy, and we want to just thank everybody that's been supporting us and sticking around. We really have a good time doing it. We really appreciate your support.
So if I'm a local venue and I want to have you come out and play for us, who do I get in contact with?
Well, online, I guess everyone does that nowadays, but we also use the telephone.
Crazy.
So, yeah. Can I put a phone number on there?
That's fine.
You can call us if you want to just pick up the phone. It's 303-905-6226, 303-905-6226, or get us online. Mike's got a real nice website set up for us. It's real easy to use, and we'd love to come over and rock out for you. We do a lot of private parties, too.
Oh, right on. Okay, cool. So I want to thank the Atomic Drifters for coming in today. I know that it was not easy given the amount that you played yesterday. I got to check your I didn't know about that part. I thought you were a family show. Should I check your fingers and see if they're broken raw now from all your playing?
Yeah, they're pretty good today.
Yeah, look, very callous, very tough.
Well
manicured too. So thank you guys very, very much, Mike and Joe and Rusty, for coming in and chatting with us and letting us play your music. I'm Lisa Levod with Local Band on Demand here at Mile High Radio. Thank you and have a really great afternoon.
There's a Buick out there, I think, right? 63 Buick? It's a great looking car. What? Yeah, there's a great Buick out there. You know the way you build a car is one piece at a time, so we got a long one for you. It's a rockabilly rap about building hot rods, one piece at a time. Well, left Kentucky back here in 49 with the Detroit working on the assembly line. First year they had me put wheels on. Well, every day I'd watch these duties roll by. Sometimes I'd hang my head and cry. I always wanted me one that was long and light. One day I devised myself a plan that's needed the most any man. I sneak it out of there with a toss in my hand. Now getting caught and getting fired, but I figure I have it all big lunchbox, help from Mike. I left that day with a lunchbox full of years. Now, I've never considered myself a thief, but Jim wouldn't miss just one little piece, especially strung it out over several years. Well, the first day I got me a fuel pump, the next day I got me an engine and a trunk, then I got me a transmission with all the chrome. Well, the things I could get in my big lunchbox, like nuts, bolts, and all four shocks. The big stuff I stuck out in Sean's mobile home. Well, up to now, the plan went all right, till we tried to put it all together one night. That's when he noticed the stuff was definitely wrong. Well, the transmission was a 53, and the motor turned out to be a 73. We tried to put in all the bolts, all the holes were gone. So we drilled it out so that it would fit with a little bit of help from an 8 after kid. We had that engine rolling like a song. Well, the headlights was another side. We had 2 on the left and 1 on the right. Well, we pulled out the switch and all 3 of them come on. Well, the back end looked kind of funny too, but we put it together and we got through. That's when we noticed we only had 1 tail fin. Well, about that time, my wife walked out and I could see in her face. She had her doubts, but she opened the door and said, "Honey, take me for a spin." So we headed uptown just to get the tags and made a ride off down the main drag. I could hear everybody laughing, blocks around. But up there at the courthouse, they didn't laugh, but tied it up to the whole staff. When they got through the title ring, 50 pounds. I got it 1 piece at a time, and it wouldn't cost me a dime. You don't know it's me when I come through your town. All around in style, oh, don't let nobody wild. But have the only one that is around. Yeah, Red Rider, this is a cottonmouth and a psycho Billy Cadillac, come on. This is a cottonmouth. Negatory on a Casadamo sheet there, Red Rider. You might say I went over to Mac's house and got one out of his backyard. It's cheaper that way. What model is it? Well, it's a 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59 automobile. Well, it's a 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70 automobile. Well, I got it 1 piece at a time, and it wouldn't cost me a dime. You don't know it's me when I come down the road. I'm around in style, oh, don't know about it wild. But have the only one there is around. But have the only one there is around. Have the only one there is around. I think 1 might be enough for that little hot rod. Hell yeah. 1 piece at a time. Longest Rockabilly song known to man. Thank you guys. I saw you guys smiling, you know. We built that trailer 1 piece at a time. And half of
You're listening to Mile High Radio. MileHighRadio.com